All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Today on the show, we have Austin and Monica, who are experienced digital nomads and have built successful online businesses while exploring the world. Austin, Monica, how you guys doing?
Dude, so good.
So
Thanks,
good.
Timothy.
Yeah, no, of course. And we like to jump right in. So let's start with just hearing a bit more about each of you and what you like to do for fun. And let's start with Monica.
Okay, nice. Well, we spend a lot of time together, so these might be really similar. So I'm glad that I got to go first. um, I love anything outdoors. I love camping, I love biking, I love hiking, I love being on the water, or like just near water all the time. That's kind of my happy place. And then I love to eat and I love to cook. So those two things kind of go well together.
There we go. Outdoor hobbies and eating and cooking.
Yep, that
I
pretty
love it.
much sums me up.
Austin, how about you?
Well, like she said, very similar. I also love being outdoors and hiking. We just had a big barbecue hiking weekends this last couple days, which was incredible. Um, I really enjoy reading. I'm a big reader. I really like watching scary movies, and I've recently discovered that I equally love scary books. That was the first for me, probably the last week, and I really enjoyed it. I read Bird Box, which is a Netflix movie. Haven't seen the movie yet, but the book was incredible.
Okay, I'm skeptical. Here's the reason.
Okay.
I
What's up?
just don't understand how a book can evoke fear. Like you're reading words, you know?
Well, I will say it helped. I listened to it as an audiobook, which might be a different experience than reading it.
That's fair.
He was very jumpy while he was listening to it though. So
I would have my headphones in, listening to the book, and I'm doing chores, laundry, or dishes, and Monica would come downstairs and scare me so many times. It was like tap me on the shoulder. I'll just like hear her walking up the stairs. I'm like, what is that creaking noise?
yeah, he was really on edge while he was reading it or listening to it.
Yeah, I love it. Well, that's funny. Maybe I'll have to give it a shot because I'm still skeptical. I don't know. I don't
Give it
know.
a try. I agree. Like before, this was the first scary book I'd read, and before I'm like, I don't like. It's not going to be the same experience as a movie because a movie you get more senses. You get to see things, you get to hear things, and all that stuff. And a book, you mostly just have one, but you have your imagination that gets pulled in, and I think that's a big part of it. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, awesome. What do you guys do? What are the businesses you built? What's the nomad life like? Tell me about the day to day.
Yeah, so we've started out as virtual assistants, just because we were really craving that location for freedom. So we learned how to become virtual assistants and we built our business. But then we got tired of kind of working in other people's businesses and helping them grow their businesses kind of from the inside and doing kind of the mundane tasks. So we decided that we wanted to actually build a business that was kind of our own and be more creative with it. So that's when we pivoted to web design and we built our web design business. And as we were doing both of those businesses, we were traveling the world. So we lived in Guatemala, we lived all over the west coast of the US. We've gone to Southeast Asia. We've been traveling, and as we've been traveling, people have taken notice and they've been asking us, "Hey, like I want to travel too. I want to do what you're doing. Can you teach me?" And so we helped several friends and family members launch their own businesses that have been really successful and just fell in love with that process. So now what we do on kind of our third iteration of business is we help other people launch online businesses so that they can travel.
Mm, I like it. I like it. Do you guys
Yeah.
have a specific online business you help people launch, or is it just kind of up to kind of their feel and their vibe?
yeah, we don't have anything specific. Just we help people figure out what it is that they feel passionate about, what brings purpose to them. So whatever that is for that client, will help them build and grow that.
I got you. I got
Yeah.
you. Do you ever bump into people who want to do something that's out of your expertise and so it's hard for you to advise on it, or is it like you kind of hit them on the business fundamentals while like the product specific knowledge may be something they have to go outside of you guys for, or do you just
Mhm.
go do research for your clients because you love them that much? How does that work?
Yeah, so
A
that's a really good
combination of
question.
all three, I think.
It is kind of a combination. So we primarily help people start service-based businesses. We ourselves haven't really done any product-based businesses, and so there's a lot of that we don't know, and we actually haven't helped anyone. I had to double check before I say it. I don't think we've helped anyone do any product-based business. It's all been service-based, which is kind of our space, which has been really good. But there's definitely been industries that we've helped people grow their business in that we don't know. But it hasn't been that big of a deal so far, knock on wood. And I think that's because in our experience, like 80% of business is mindset, and there's a lot of mindset hurdles, there's a lot of limiting belief hurdles to overcome, and we can help with all of that. 20% is strategy, and even if it's not an industry that we know intimately, there's a lot of strategy that does cross over, and so we can still help with a lot of that portion. And then if there's something that we really just don't know, we can help our clients figure it out.
Yeah, I was about to say like 20% of it is strategy, and then like 3 out of that 20% might be industry specific strategy.
Right.
Probably
Right.
a YouTube search away, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. So
Like sales, marketing, and unless you're trying to fulfill on a really complex product slash service, you're probably pretty solid. So
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
and they're all the same size too. Like we don't work with big corporations. We work with 1-2 people size startups. And so the size of it too is a big factor that makes it pretty similar for most people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, awesome. What's y'all's motivation? What really gets you up and keeps you going every day? Now we're gonna start with Austin.
Okay. This was a really good question, and I like that you asked this. And I had a hard time kind of pinning it down to one thing. I feel like there's a lot of things that get me going, and there's a lot of it's kind of in different spaces too. But one thing that I thought of that really keeps me going is I feel very motivated by being a dependable husband for Monica, and then kind of projecting into the future, a dependable father. And it's been on my mind because we had a lot of conversations this weekend with friends who just started fostering, and so I've been thinking a lot about parenthood and fathering, and it's in our plans. It's not in our near future plans, but it's something we want to do. And so growing my business, like a big motivator for growing my business is having financial freedom so that I can support our kids and support our lives together as husband and wife. A big part of what I'm doing too is a lot of personal development so that when my kids are going through challenges of their own, I can be there to help them with it. And so there's kind of a lot of different facets of my life now, being a business owner, being a traveler, being a husband that is going to I project playing a big role in being a father. And so that's kind of a lot of what makes me want to be the best at what I'm doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Monica, what gets you up and gets you going every day?
Yeah, I am a big believer that life is just such a gift and that we kind of have the responsibility to take that gift and run with it and to work on evolving and becoming our best selves and waking up or going to bed a little bit better each day than the person we were when we woke up. And I really believe that travel and business, that combination has been that for me. Like it's really helped me become such a better version of myself, and I can see like down the future, I can see that like in another year I'm going to be totally different again, and it's just going to keep going, and I'm going to be able to keep evolving. And so knowing that I can help other people have that same experience and really treasure this gift of life and make the most of it, that's what really fuels me.
Yeah, I gotcha. That's awesome. Growth. That's a really,
Yeah.
really cool thing to strive after. I think it's the thing that like it's kind of at the core of all of us, and we all may want to kind of grow in different ways, but if you're not growing, you're dying. I think I've heard that somewhere before, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty accurate, honestly.
Yeah,
um,
I don't think anyone's born to be stagnant, and
yeah,
I think people feel that in different ways. We don't like stagnation.
yep.
So
Curious, you guys have been doing this thing for 17 years. Has it been together the whole time? Is it a cumulative experience? Because honestly, you guys look like you're maybe 30, which means you would have started at 13. And so I'm just
yes,
curious.
Yeah.
this is 17 years combined.
Yeah.
So maybe I need to word that better in our bio, but it has been 17 years combined. So I've basically been traveling nonstop since I graduated high school in 2014, and for Monica, since she graduated in 2015.
Okay. Okay. Solid, solid, solid. Which means I was right. You guys aren't even 30.
No,
Yeah.
I'm 27.
He
She's
turned
26.
27 yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. The numbers weren't working in my head.
You're like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so here's the question. You guys are so young to have done this and gone out on your own and started traveling, and you guys started right out of high school, you said?
Hmm.
That's a scary thing
Basically.
to do. How did you know? And were you guys like high school sweethearts? Did you meet on the road?
No, so okay, so I feel like we need to give some context to how this all happened. We met in college. We met in 2017, and we got married in 2018. We've been traveling together ever since we were dating. Like that was always a priority for the two of us in our relationship. My travel started. My first trip was with a singing and dancing performance group that I was in high school. We toured in Ireland. And then I served a mission for my church in Paraguay, and I lived there for 2 years. And then when Monica graduated, she did the same thing, but she served her mission in Peru. And then we met after that. And so we had both kind of traveled a little bit of our own. It wasn't the same type of travel that we do now because it was very focused on the missionary work that we were doing. But we loved the travel aspect of it, and we started together with some humanitarian trips. Because of our experiences as missionaries, we both spoke Spanish, and so we found a medical team that would go down to Guatemala, and we were working as interpreters for them. And so we did that a couple years in a row, and then kind of branched out from there into more of doing trips, less with a mission behind it, and more just for our own travel experience. And then we would work on our businesses while being there. So it's evolved a lot since our first travel experiences till now.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
This might get a little too personal, and you guys can totally just bump me off if it is.
Okay.
Are you guys Mormon?
We are. Yes.
Gotcha, gotcha. Has your traveling since your mission trip 5 or 6 years ago, has it affected your faith in any way? Would you be willing to share that with us? Just curious.
Interesting
Yeah,
question.
I would say that it definitely has because and I think it's like more than just faith. I think it's really every aspect of like who I am as a person. But I grew up and we both grew up in really small, kind of isolated towns, very conservative. And you grow up just kind of taking the opinions of your parents and everyone around you, because they always seem to know what they're doing, they seem to have their lives put together, at least from the perspective of a child. So when we started traveling, that was when like my eyes were really opened up to the fact that there are so many different ways of life, and there are so many different like beautiful religions and different just like thought processes and philosophies. And so we are very like open to different like religious discussions. We went to like Buddhist temples a lot and did a lot of meditation retreats and things like that while we were in Thailand. And it's just, I feel like it's really just like, what's the word? It's just really like amplified everything, and we've been able to take all of the best parts of all of the places that we've traveled and to kind of accumulate it like into our belief system and into who we are, if that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense to me because I had a very similar experience. Not Mormon, but I'm Christian. And so a lot of people in kind of Christian culture and in the church, which honestly, it's different, but it's not that different. So, but anyway,
Yeah.
in the Christian church, we'll talk about kind of how self-help books, like you really just need to read the Bible. You don't need to read self-help books. You don't really need
Yeah.
business books or whatever it may be. But I started reading business books and specifically learning about the law of attraction. And it like opened my eyes to like the grandeur of God. Because, I
Yes.
learned about the law of attraction and then they'd be like, yeah, you can think about it and you can act on it and feel it and, kind of put yourself there and you'll have it. Right. But then I
Mhm.
would read the Bible and then you would go in Hebrews and it's like the Hall of Fame of faith. And it talks about how they had certain things by faith.
Mhm.
And faith was this really kind of mystical thing for me that I didn't quite
Yeah.
understand. And then like when I put the law of attraction like in with faith, and it was like the law of attraction talks about like your thoughts having energy, right? And like
Mhm.
it's like a wavelength and all that good stuff. And then, you know, in certain translations of the Bible, it's like faith is the substance of things hoped for. I was like, how can like things hoped for have substance? But then, like, when you line it up with the law of attraction, it's like, well, thoughts actually do have substance. They have energy behind them. And so that was just a very unique. And then that whole scripture of whatsoever you ask for in prayer, believe it in your heart to be true and it will be yours. I'm like, huh, that sounds a lot like the law of
Yeah.
attraction.
Yeah.
No, I love that you said
Yes.
that when we were in our first year of business, especially, but it continues like all the time. There's so many things that we notice, like business principles that we learned, and then we'd go to church and we'd hear the same thing just with a slightly different vocabulary in our church service. We're like, this is the same thing we're learning here. Like, and
Uh-huh.
to see the parallels
Yeah.
in our business life and then in our religious life and see how similar they were, we're like, holy crap, this is
Well,
awesome.
and it's totally changed like my relationship with God as well. Like we've been recently really discovering the power of like manifestation and visualization and stuff in business. And I've realized like that has changed, like manifestations are just prayers, you know? And so it's totally just changed my relationship with God and understanding how I can communicate and co-create this life that I'm living with him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. And then speaking of like the power of life and death is in the tongue, it's like all of this, like all these scriptures had so much more potency when I started
Yes.
mapping it up with like visualization, manifestation, law of attraction. I was like, man, the Bible really isn't telling me stuff that different from what I'm hearing over here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
what was shocking to me was how many people, like when you get caught in like the microcosm of your community that you're living in, you know, some ideas just aren't let in. But I feel like when you go and explore the world and you hear other stuff from other people, it helps you see whatever your holy text is in a new like way. Like it helped me see the Bible. And I'm
Mhm.
sure, I don't know what the other, like I'm sure people see the Quran differently when they
Mhm.
go explore and they become more open-minded. And so it's
Mhm.
just like, I don't know, man. It blew my mind. So I just wanted you guys to share.
Yeah.
I was curious.
No, that's great. I love
Yeah.
that. And I think one of the incredible things is Monica talks about this all the time. We as a global community, we are a lot more similar than we are different.
Mhm.
Um the nuances might change, but I honestly believe like for the most part, we all want very similar things. We all believe very similar things, and sometimes it's just a slight difference in the words that we use. And we think that we're incredibly different from other people, from other cultures and religions because of those small differences, but there's a lot of similarities there, and it's just the vocabulary that we place around it. And that was incredible to me to kind of have that realization.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that.
Of
Of
course.
course.
Let's go ahead and jump into dreams and goals. What's your vision for business, life, family?
Mm.
And we'll start with Monica.
Yeah, this is an interesting question for me to think about because in a lot of ways I am living the dream life that I set out to live. You know, every time I talked about what my dreams and aspirations were, before, like really today, I'm living those things, you know. So it really made me think, okay, like what's the next step? And I really think for me, the next step is kind of more like watching the success of my clients more. So I'm really enjoyed watching our current clients start to flourish and figure things out, but I'm really excited for watching them like just like be where I'm at now, you know. And then I would just love to just keep traveling. I don't know, and just I know we differ a little bit here. I would love to just be nomadic forever. Like I don't see any end in sight. I don't see myself settling down. Austin, I'll let you talk about your dream, I guess, in a
Thanks.
second. So we're working on like converging these together and trying to figure out what a good like mixture would be. And I mean, that's the beautiful thing about being a digital nomad is we just get to decide over and over and over again, like what life we want to live and then make it happen. And then in a few months, if that's not the life we want to live anymore, we pivot and we go somewhere else. We do something different. So just like having that freedom to constantly intentionally choose the life I want to live. That's really my dream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go. Austin?
It's a dope dream. So the difference there that she was talking about was I like having more of a home base somewhere and then traveling from that. A little bit more not necessarily stationary, but just like to have our own, like right now, we don't have our own place. We're just bouncing around place to place, carrying our stuff with us. And my parents are holding on to a few boxes of our things. But I would love to have a place of our own that we can build and create into what we want, and then keep our stuff there and continue traveling from there. Also to continue seeing our business grow and to be able to expand our reach to more people who have this desire to live the life that Monica was talking about, like live whatever it is that they want, to be more thoughtful about it, to be more intentional about their life, and then to give them the steps to make that happen. Like I want to expand that reach, and I want to be able to reach more people to help them find that, because it's been so incredible for us, and it's changed our lives so much. It's changed our some of our religious beliefs. It's changed some of our interpersonal relationships. It's changed our relationship just between the two of us. It's changed my perception of myself, and I want that for other people. So I just wanted to expand that reach.
I gotcha.
These were kind of vague dreams, but
Well, do you want to make them more specific, or are you fine with them being vague?
I mean, we have specifics. I don't know what you're looking for.
No, man, I want the meat. Like, give me
All
the
right.
Yeah.
All right. So my dream is to be able to work about 4 days a week. 2 days we're working one-on-one with clients, and then the other 2 days we're working internally in our business. So that's optimizing our offer or expanding, maybe doing trainings with some team members of ours. And then the fourth day of the work week would just be kind of a bonus day. If we need to get extra stuff done in our business, we can. If we want to take a 3-day weekend, we do. And we're flexible. And I mean, I love the idea in my world. When it's just the two of us, I like the idea of traveling a lot more, staying in different countries, maybe for 1 to 3 months at a time. Once kids are in the picture, I like the idea of having that home base where we're educating them at that home, but then during the off months, we're taking them with them on our trips, and we're traveling with them. And we really want to adopt internationally. And so we want to connect our children to the countries that they come from and make sure that they have that connection with their own personal heritage. And so we want to take them and help them understand and learn about and appreciate the festivals from that country that they're from, and the foods, and meet people there and have friends from there. And so make sure that we continue traveling to those places.
Mm-hmm. I would also just love to be the best aunt and uncle ever, and
Yes.
and introduce our nieces and nephews to travel. I love those little stinkers so much, and I just really want them to share a piece of our life with us.
I think we currently have 11 nieces and nephews, and
counting.
I'm pretty sure we have locked in the best aunt and uncle title for the past however long we've had them, I guess. And we just want to make sure we keep that title.
Keep that standing.
I gotcha. Okay. Any other dreams and goals you guys want to add? So currently, I have Monica. You're living the dream, but the next step is watching the success of your clients, keep traveling, be the best aunt and uncle. Austin, you like having a home base and traveling from that. You want to expand the reach to your the reach of your message, basically. Work 4 days per week, 2 internally, 2 with clients, and then adopt internationally and connect the children to the countries that they come from. And obviously some of these are shared, like the adoption, the being the best aunt and uncle, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I think you got it.
That
Okay.
sums it up, I think.
Anything else you guys want to add, or are we gonna leave it there? Sounds good to me. I'm just making sure.
I'm like, is there something else we need to? Oh, actually, yeah. Now that I think about it, I would love to have an Airbnb empire.
Oh yeah,
and I would love to have each house have its own theme. Like, I really like interior design, so we can have like a Harry Potter house, or we could have like, I don't know, like an ocean themed house or something. And then we can have people come up to us and be like, hey, like my family needs a vacation. I'll be like, well, perfect. Our Spain house is available. That's my dream. I would love that.
I got you. And so is the Airbnb empire for the appreciation and cash flow that comes with real estate, or more for you like the interior design? I know it's probably for both, but which one is it?
Yes.
Oh yeah, which is it more?
If I'm being completely honest, it would be for just like the interior design. I mean, I know the money would be really nice too, but like I'm not a numbers person, so I haven't like thought through like what that would actually look like. It's just the like I just kind of romanticize the idea of like being able to like decorate, you know.
I got you. I got you. Cool, cool. That's funny. Because the only thing that's appealing to me about an Airbnb business is the cash flow. Like that is it. But you know, to each their own for sure. So Airbnb Empire, we got that added on there. Question for you guys. Do you currently work 4 days per week? Are you guys working more, less? What's the current balance?
Um, right now we probably on average we work more 5 days a week.
Mhm.
We take that extra day off less frequently than I would than in my dream. In the future ambitions we will, but we're working it right now to help kind of give our business that kickstart to get to that place we want it to be.
I got you. I got you. Okay. And what cash flow number do you think you need to be at before you can set the foot firm on that 4 days per week?
Mm,
Oh, that's a
If
good
you feel
question.
comfortable sharing that, you don't have to share cash flow numbers
yeah.
and stuff like that, but the
You
question's out.
know, yeah, I honestly think we could do it now. I just think that there's part of us that knows our business could be better. And so we're in a season where we're like, okay, like, I mean, we have enough money coming in right now that we can live totally comfortably and we could live a fantastic life. But we want our business to be more than just providing comfort for us. We want it to be helping us achieve other goals like my little Airbnb empire. But also like to have more impact for people. And so we're just kind of in a season right now. Well, we could be taking off that fifth day. A lot of times we're just really motivated to keep working on it. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's really incredible when how do I say this? One of the biggest changes has been actually loving to work. And for a lot of people who haven't had this opportunity to start up their own business around something that they love to do, they dread going to work. And so work is just something that it's a means to an end. They have to do it to get the money they need for whatever it is, whether it's just living expenses or if they're saving for a trip or whatever. But Monica and I both genuinely love what we do. And so that makes it easy to work extra hours when we feel it's necessary or even when we want to, because it's just something we love. And
Yeah.
we love the impact that we're having. We enjoy the process. So it's just fun. We enjoy it.
The most eye-opening experience for us was last Christmas. My parents treated all of my family to a cruise. That was their Christmas gift to everyone. And so it was like a 7-day cruise. And I think day 5, Austin and I both kind of looked at each other and we're like, all right, let's go home and start working again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love that. That's awesome. Well, cool. So it's not really a cash flow number or delegations or systems and processes. It's more of a like, we have the passion right now. We're running hot on the passion. Whenever that
Mhm.
starts to die down and we feel like we need more space, we'll give ourselves more space.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it.
Solid. Solid. Well, cool. What are the top 1 to 2 skills you guys need to develop right now to make some of these dreams and goals come true?
I'll go. Okay. The top one that came to mind, and this is something that I'm definitely still working on. Like by no means great at this. It's been something that I've been working a lot on in the past month, and that is learning to ask the right questions.
Ooh, I like that.
So I think if you can get really good at asking the right questions, that changes everything. So a couple of examples. Maybe a year ago, I read the book The One Thing by Gary Keller. Probably one of the best business books I've ever read. And I know a lot of other people have talked about it. It's a really good read.
Solid.
But he teaches you to instead of having this huge to-do list and trying to get through your whole to-do list every day, you focus on the most important thing, and you find that most important thing by asking yourself, what's the one thing that I can do right now that by doing it, everything else on my list or everything else that needs to get done is going to be easier or become unnecessary. So if you ask that question to yourself, and then you can find the most important things that's going to move your business forward. Another example could be when it comes to limiting beliefs. This is something that we learned from Rob Dial. He's a great mentor of ours.
Yeah, the mindset mentor.
Yeah.
Mm.
He's
He's right here in
awesome.
Austin. I'm in Austin.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's cool.
Neighbors.
Yeah,
Tell him hi for us.
will do.
So he taught us that like one way to combat your limiting beliefs is to ask different questions. And so the questions that I previously was asking myself was, why am I not good enough? Or why like why don't I have enough, I don't have enough experience, or why am I the person to do this, you know? And so that really makes you feel insecure, makes you feel unconfident. But instead of asking those questions, I started asking myself, why is now the best time to start serving my clients? Why is now the time to start a business? Or what evidence do I have to show myself that I am a good coach, that I am good at what I do? And so I started looking back, and I would find messages and find clients who I've helped who have had really positive experiences. Or, you know, so learning to ask different questions internally helped me overcome a lot of limiting beliefs, helped me focus on the right things. And so I'm still getting better at it. It's still definitely a work in progress, but learning to ask the right questions has really changed the whole direction of where I'm going.
I like that. Asking the right questions. Monica?
I would say for me, it's been and still is learning to take the scary action and letting it be imperfect and letting it be messy, but continuing to take that action anyway. I think a lot of times I get really nervous or like discouraged or anxious about like just doing the next thing in business and taking the next step to grow it, but really like messy imperfect action always is going to be better than no action. So that's it for me.
Done is better than perfect. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Well, what are the highest impact, speaking of the one thing, highest impact daily actions that are going to tick the needle forward towards your dreams and goals?
I'll start with you this time.
Okay. Yeah. For me, I am very analytical. So reflecting and evaluating on all of the things that we have done and figuring out what went well, what didn't go well, what could be better. And just always making sure that like we are going back over the numbers, the analytics.
Mhm.
Is that the word? Okay.
Yep.
And just like always evaluating ourselves as business owners and as coaches and working to improve.
There we go.
Yeah, that's a good one. I had just read recently a study, and I tried to find it to share with you, but I couldn't find it, so I don't have the exact numbers, unfortunately. But the idea was like you can learn from other people's experiences, which is a great way to learn because then you don't have to make the same mistakes. Those same lessons are going to stick a lot more if you go through it yourself, because then it's a personal experience. But then even beyond that, those same lessons are going to stick even more if you go through the experience yourself, but then you take time to reflect and look back on what happened, and to write down and record your impressions and record the lessons that you learned. And that's going to help it stick even further. And so that's been something that Monica and I have both done recently a lot, and that's helped us learn lessons faster.
I gotcha.
That's just tacking on to hers there.
Yeah.
My other thought was this kind of goes along with the one thing idea, is to set priorities for the things that need to get done. So if you have one priority, that's great. I would have no more than 3. I don't remember who said it, but someone said if you have more than 3 priorities, you really don't have any at all.
Mm-hmm.
So set no more than 3 priorities for your day. If you spend your entire day only working on those 3 things, even just that one thing, then you haven't wasted your day, because you've been working on the most important thing that you could have done. If you get those 3 priorities done by 11 a.m., everything else you get done that day is just bonus. And then it's nice. So that's been also super helpful.
I love it. Well, what character trait do you guys need to develop to make your dream life come true? We'll start with Austin.
Okay. Character trait. I think one of the biggest character traits that's been helping me develop and grow towards my goal is personal accountability. This kind of goes along with integrity, I think. Setting a goal for yourself, and even if you were to stop working towards that goal, nobody else would know, nobody else would care, but you set it for yourself. So having the integrity and the personal accountability to say, you know what, I'm going to hold myself accountable to reaching this, even if I'm the only one. That is huge.
Yeah, I love it. Monica?
I would say being resourceful. So I think Austin can attest to this. A lot of times I'm like, oh, I tried and I couldn't do it. And so I just won't do it. Or I need someone else to do it for me. Or I need Austin to open the garage door. That one happened this morning. Just and then I mean, just being able to realize that like everything that I already have everything that I need. I just need to be a little bit more creative maybe with my resources, or just to go out and find the resources I need to make it happen.
Yeah, I gotcha. Speaking of creative, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't say this earlier. You just said creative and it sparked the thought in my head. Airbnb Empire. Have you ever heard of Pace Morby?
No.
Oh my gosh, you guys should check out Pace Morby. He talks about creative finance for real estate acquisition.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I know an Airbnb Empire sounds like it would definitely take a lot of work, but it sounds like it would also take a lot of money. But if you creatively
Mhm.
finance the properties to acquire them, you might be able to get into some properties that cash flow really well for a small amount of money down. Like,
Yeah.
there are methods where you can basically take over somebody's debt payment. So, interest rates right now are like 6.75 to 7% or whatever they are, somewhere in that 6 to 7 range. But before, people were getting mortgages at like 2.5%, 3%.
Mm.
Well, you can actually take over their loan at that 2.5 or 3%. So then you have a better cash flow opportunity. And all you'll have to do is find somebody in a situation where it works.
Oh,
For
dang.
That's so
example,
interesting.
yeah, it might be like they might have gotten a new job, so their job is moving them to a new state, and so they're looking to sell their property, but they can't sell it because they don't have any equity in it because they just bought it 9 months ago. In that case, it would be beneficial for you to take the house off their hands. You keep their credit score up, and they don't have to worry about the house anymore. And now you have an Airbnb property in your portfolio. There are some
Oh,
cons.
that's really
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really hype. And so there's some cons associated with it. Like, the one thing you have to look out for when you're doing those types of transactions is called the due on sale clause. Banks have the right to basically make the full loan balance due if the property's transferred without their permission,
Oh, yikes.
but they can choose whether or not to exercise that right. So as long as you keep the payments on time, I think he's done like 5,000 of these or something like that, and
Oh, wow.
that clause has been triggered on like 5 to 6 of them. So like
Oh, okay.
1 out of 1,000. So it could be your first one. That would suck.
That would be a bummer.
You sure would.
Yeah,
Oh,
that would
yikes.
suck. But they give you 90 days and then they work with you to solve the issue. Like, you can sell the property, you can give it back to the owner, you can work with them. It's not like
Okay.
you owe me $500,000 right now or you're going to jail. It's not that.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll look into that. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, Pace Morby, he's a cool dude.
Pace Morby.
Yeah, he's just. I was watching his YouTube video the other day because I'm big into real estate and I've been trying to do it for a while. But without community or capital, you need one of the two. You either need other people's money or you need your own money. And so I've been trying to do other people's money thing for a while. And then Pace Morby, he has these YouTube videos that he'll do. And he was like, yeah, and the way I got this money was from all these people in my community, my 900,000 person Facebook group. Like, you just
Dang.
go in there.
Wow.
It's a free group. You put the deal up and you have people contact you. Obviously, you need to vet them because there's 900,000 people in there. So probably about
Sure.
800,000 of them are trash, but the other 100,000 the other 100,000 are solid and can help you close deals. And so he just solved my issue. And so I was like, I'll just use his method and then use his people and then I'll build my portfolio. And so that's a
Dang.
shift I
Okay.
made recently. But yeah, cool stuff.
No,
That's
that's cool.
awesome. Good for you.
It'll be better when I acquire a property, but yes.
Okay. But I mean, like, to have the plan though, I mean,
Yeah.
that's farther ahead than we are. So that's it. Like, I'm aspiring to be more like you and to like start putting together a plan to make it happen.
Hey, Pace's videos are gonna get you guys, like, you're gonna have the knowledge within like 2 or 3 videos. So
Oh,
and it's
sweet.
just
I'm
right.
excited.
Yeah.
You
Well,
go. Well,
awesome.
on your way.
Oh, what'd you say?
Oh, I was just telling you that's the next step on our way to this Airbnb empire that she
Yeah,
wants.
next time we talk, I'll be the queen of my empire.
There we go. There we go. Well, if there were one or two people you guys could meet right now, this could be a specific person or a type of person, and they'd really help you take that next step towards your dreams and goals, who would they be and how would they help you?
We actually, for this one, we were thinking of Rob Dial. I know we already
Mhm.
mentioned him,
Yeah.
but he's been we took a business breakthrough course training from him, and that's been incredibly instrumental in getting us to where we are. And then he has another program that we're planning on joining in a few months probably, to take us kind of to that next level. So he already has been, and we're assuming, or not assuming, we're planning on him being that person, that mentor for us, who's going to help uh, get us to where we want to be.
There we go. There we go. I love it. Rob Dial. You guys just have to come down to Austin.
Yeah, that'd be
there you
sweet.
go. I'll start my empire there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, awesome. Now we're gonna jump into our thriving three. Where are you guys now, by the way?
We are in Island Park, Idaho.
Gotcha.
Like 20 minutes outside of Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Nice, 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 nice. Solid. Is Yellowstone cool? I've never been.
Oh, Yellowstone's
Oh,
incredible.
It feels like you're on a different planet. It's crazy.
There we go. Now I have to go.
Yep.
Well, cool. Now we're gonna jump into our thriving three, and the first question we got for you guys is, what's your favorite book, movie, or podcast? Pick one of those three. And I guess you guys will get two answers, but hey, there we go.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
This one is really hard for Austin. He's
It's
so
so hard.
indecisive. So he has like a list that he has to pick from
It's-
right now on the spot.
It's not necessarily indecision. There's just so much good content out there. There's so many good of all
Fair.
these things. But
Very fair.
go ahead, Monica.
For me, my favorite podcast is The Hidden Brain. And that one is, I don't know if, have you heard of that one?
I'm not.
Oh, it's so cool. It's like psychology based and they go into like all the different functions of the brain. And I have a pretty high turnover rate of what podcasts I listen to, but that one has always stayed.
There we go. Obviously, you don't have a turnover rate with my podcast, right?
No, obviously not.
Obviously.
I'm your faithful fan.
Awesome. Austin, what you got for us?
I'm gonna go with my favorite book. I don't know if you're looking for a business book. There's a lot of great business books out there, but my favorite all-time book is a fantasy book. It's a series called The Rune Lords.
I feel like that's
And-
cheating. That's still more than one book.
Ooh, get him.
Okay, all right. The first Rune Lords book. No, man, that was so good. Like I can nerd out about it for so long, and just there's so many cool things about it. It's such a good book, and I actually started reading it on accident. It was my dad's book that he was reading on a family vacation of ours, and I got really bored.
I hate it when that happens. Oh darn! This book again.
I was bored one day on during this family reunion, and he had it with him. I'm like, all right, I'll just sit down and start reading it. I was hooked by the first page, and oh man, I try and tell everybody about it. I love it.
So it's a business book, but it's fiction. Is it like a? Have you read?
Oh no, sorry, it's not a business book. It's just a fantasy book.
Oh, okay. I got
Yeah.
you. I was mixing those two. Okay, sounds good. The Rune Lords books.
Rune Lords. Yep.
There we go. And what's one way you guys like to take care of yourselves?
We both really like going on walks.
Mm.
On a lot of walks.
I would just add hammocking. I was hammocking this afternoon before it started raining, and it's just a super fun way just to decompress, relax.
Solid.
Yeah.
And what's one action step you can take right now or continue to take if you're already doing it to work with Rob Dial further?
Well, what I'm working on right now is mastering the sales call and like working through objections with potential clients so that we can be making more money to work with Rob Dial.
There we go. I got you.
I've got the same one. We were talking about this earlier, and we both agree that's the one thing that we're focusing on right now is mastering our sales.
What do you guys what are some of the objections that you run into the most that stop you from closing?
Yeah, there's typically three that we hear a lot. It's money, but typically I feel like money is kind of a cover up for like deeper objections. So it's money, spouse, like, oh, I have to get permission from my spouse, or
I'll think about it, or now's not the right
yeah,
time.
Mm. So it's
yeah,
either money, spouse, or kind of just an aversion. I'm not going to commit
Mhm.
right now.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes, like in our experience, the people that we've talked to, sometimes there are legitimate, like, I like genuinely there's no money for your program. Or I, like, in our relationship, I would never purchase a program without talking to Monica about it first. Like, genuinely, I would want our clients, if they have a spouse, like, yeah, that's what you do in
Seems like a
relationships. Go
healthy
talk to
thing
your
to do.
spouse about it, you know?
Yeah.
But a lot of times, like Monica said, they're kind of like smoke screens for some other question or insecurity.
Or like,
So either
yeah.
they don't know enough about, like, if they're putting up one of those objections, it's maybe they don't know enough about our program. Maybe they don't trust us enough. Maybe they don't trust themselves to have this transformation that we're promising them. And so if we can have a good conversation with them before these objections come up and kind of cut through those excuses, is what they are a lot of times, then that's helped us
That's
figure
what
out
we've
like
been
the root of the
working
problem.
on.
So that's what
Yeah.
we're working on right now.
I gotcha. And I assume Rob Dow's program has some training on that.
Sorry, what was that?
I assume Rob Dial's program has some training on that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. If not, I was about to suggest. I'm sure you guys know this guy, but Alex Hormozy.
Oh,
Yeah,
uh-huh.
he's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Oh man, his sales videos just kill on YouTube. I'm like,
Yeah.
He's fun. He's entertaining too.
yeah. He has two or three like videos specifically on closing, and I think he addresses most of those objections. He might be a little bit more pushy than you guys
Mm.
want to be
Mhm.
on your sales calls, but it's a kind of style, a sales style type of
Yeah,
vibe, like
definitely.
whatever you want. Um, what do you guys do when those objections come up? Are you going the hypothetical question route where it's like, well, if you had the money right now, would you move forward? Or
Mhm.
do you guys try to overcome them in
Yeah.
another?
Well, first we make sure that that's what the real problem is. So we ask something along the lines of, like, money aside, is there anything about our program, anything we've talked about that you have questions about, that's keeping you from joining?
Mm.
So if they say, oh no, it's just the money, then we say something like, so it sounds like we try and get to a point where we're on the same page, like they understand and we understand that it's not a should I do this problem, but it's a how do I do this problem. So if they're 100% on board and like they know it's something that they need to do to grow, to get to that, whatever they're working towards, and they believe that we're the people to help them do it, and it really is just okay, how do I do that, how do I finance this, then we'll start talking we'll help brainstorm some options and help them figure out, like, we'll break it up into payment plans or different things like that to help it make it more accessible for them.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Very nice. Very nice. Well, now we got our final series of questions. And this is all about limiting beliefs and all that good stuff. And it can get personal sometimes. So if you guys want to pass, just say so and we'll pass. And I won't give you a
Okay.
hard time about it. So, what is one limiting belief that continues to pop up in your life, if any? And we'll start with Monica.
Yeah, so I was raised in well, I guess this is jumping from to the next question. Okay, limiting belief. As a woman, I shouldn't be out there trying to make money or trying to build a business and be successful. That's the belief.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
Actually, let's go through the three questions since you guys can see them for each of you,
Mm.
because I feel
Yeah.
like that
Okay.
makes more sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so, where's it come from, Monica?
Okay, so yeah, so this comes just strictly from the way I was raised. I was raised in a household where like my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and that's the what like women were supposed to be stay-at-home moms. That was their whole job, is to stay home and make babies. And there was a lot of talk. Like my mom would always be like, "Oh yeah, she chooses to work and send her kids to daycare," like, and was really, really critical of women who chose to work. But being a stay-at-home mom sounds terrible to me. I couldn't do it. And so I knew, like, growing up, I always had this like this kind of feeling inside me like I want to do more with my life, but then I felt guilty because I was taught that motherhood is like the essence, like the peak of being a woman. And so that's something that I see creep into my life in lots of different ways. Like when it comes to like my money mindset that comes in, or like even just like looking forward to like what my next step in my evolution is going to be, like it'll pop up. So that's something that I've been fighting for a while.
I got you. I got you. And do you have any limiting actions or inactions that reinforce that belief to this day?
Mm-hmm. Not that I am consciously aware of. I'm sure there are some. I've been like actively working on my money mindset. And that was a really big, like I've had a lot of really big breakthroughs with that. But I have in the past like done a lot of self-sabotaging because of that identity that I had.
Yeah, I got you. Well, thanks for sharing. Austin, what you got
Mhm.
for us?
So my probably one of my bigger limiting beliefs has been a fear of like an inability to, or I guess fearing that my abilities aren't going to be enough to meet the needs or to meet the expectations of the people who are paying me for the services. So another way to put that would be fearing that someone I'm gonna somehow convince someone to pay me for my services, to be my client, and then I'm gonna screw it up, or it's not gonna be what they wanted or what they expected, and then they're gonna be upset. They're not gonna have the transformation they wanted. So that fear that's of all of that kind of falling on my shoulders. Um, so where it comes from, I don't really know. I think a lot of it stems from comparison, comparing myself to other coaches, to other business owners, um, and seeing them and thinking I could never do it that way, or I could never be like that, or I could never be that good, or I could never get there. And therefore, why would my clients be satisfied with my services when they could go work with those people? You know? So it definitely stems from comparing and looking at other people and seeing myself against them. Um, and what was the other question? Actions that reinforce it?
Yep.
Or inactions?
Yep.
I don't know. I think,
Comparison.
I mean, comparison, I guess, would be the action. You know, if I spend too much time and then sitting in that thought, it's like if like that, I feel like it's inevitable that like you're gonna have those thoughts of comparison, but sometimes I make the mistake of kind of sitting on it, brooding on it for too long. And then like if I nip it in the bud and change my thoughts, and I'll get to that in a second how I do that. But if I don't do it quickly, then it's harder to get out of that thought rut.
Yeah, I gotcha. Austin, do you feel like you tie your abilities? Because I feel like this is pretty typical with men. Do you feel like you tie your abilities to your identity of like you know, I'm not enough, so my abilities aren't enough type of vibe? Do you feel like that's under that belief, or is that
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that that kind of ties together. And um that's another thing I've been learning recently is to separate my services from who I am as a person.
Mhm.
Um, like when you have a sales call, if you get rejected in a sales call, for me, and I know for a lot of people, but for me, it's really easy to take that and be like, okay, they're rejecting me. Like they don't want me, you know, but being able to separate, okay, they said no to my service, they said no to my program, but that's not who I am. That's just something that I do, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that, and it's really hard when you're kind of in that not really solopreneur because you guys are partners, but it's like the small business vibe where and you are the coach, and so it does
Mm-hmm.
seem like it's very tied, but it's not, you know. And so
Mm-hmm.
they aren't. Yeah, it's a hard thing to keep straight in your head for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Duopreneurs. That's what we need to call ourselves, is a duopreneur.
Duopreneur.
I like that. I like that. I I asked that question because I struggled and still struggle with that, but man, it was hitting me hard. Like I was cold calling to wholesale real estate back in college when I was like 19,
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 years ago. And it was all right, I must have been like 20 because it was during COVID. And the pandemic hit and I was cold calling for real estate. and this woman just went to town on me
Oh
when I
no.
cold called her. Like, I called her, I was asking her if she was looking to sell her house, and she's like, "This is a pandemic. Are you heartless? You guys are just trying to pick up people's homes
Oh
at a
no.
discount, and you
Oh
don't care about
no.
people." And it's like, this is the devil's work, and blah 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 blah. Blah. And she was just going off on me, like probably for
Oh.
2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, just continuous.
Yikes.
So, and then she clicked, she hung up. So I didn't even get a chance to like talk back to her or anything.
Right. Yeah.
And I sat there. I sat at my desk for probably like 30 minutes and I like reconsidered my whole life. I was like,
Yeah.
wait, is what I'm doing even right? Like I didn't even feel that good about this anyway. And so like it was just
Hmm.
reaffirming all
Hmm.
these insecurities I had, all these uh yeah, because I tied it in with me and like
Yeah.
so much. Yeah, so anyway, that's why I
Yeah.
asked.
No, I feel that. No, thank you for bringing that up and for sharing that, because I definitely think that's been a big struggle and a big limiting belief is tying those two things too closely together. And then, um, yeah, just letting that drag you down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, awesome. If you guys were to change these limiting beliefs into abundant phrases that really spoke to your heart in the way that you needed to hear them, what would those phrases be? And let's start with Austin.
Okay. So I journaled about this maybe a month ago. And so I went back through my journal because I liked this question. So I listed all of my limiting beliefs. And then on the other page, I listed kind of the empowering alternative, the empowering belief that went with it. And so for this one, what I wrote down was that every client that I serve is an opportunity to refine my skills, gather feedback, and improve my coaching approach.
Mm.
So yeah, like maybe where I'm at right now, there are some skills that I'm lacking. Maybe there are some ways that I can improve, but um I I know enough to provide great value to my clients now, and I have evidence of that. I can look back to several clients whose businesses I've helped build and whose limiting beliefs I've helped overcome. So I have that foundation to start on. And then every single client is just it's refining that for me. Every client that I have is going to give me feedback, positive or negative, that's going to help make it even better for the next client that I have. And so it's only going to get better from here.
Yeah, I love it. Monica?
That was really good.
Thanks.
Mine is quite a bit more simple than that, but it just the fact that I am a woman who is building a thriving coaching business that improves people's lives, and that's okay. And I just kind of have had that sentence running through my head a lot the last couple of weeks. And it really just kind of helps affirm to me that like because I am a woman who is building a business, I can relate to people differently than some. I mean, I don't want to rag on stay-at-home moms because that is such a sacrifice. Like that, I could never do that. I'm just so impressed. And so just like the fact that I have all the skills as a woman to build a business that is thriving and makes a difference in people's lives just feels so empowering to me.
Yeah, I love it. Well, when the limiting beliefs start to take over, what thoughts or actions do you guys resort to in order to take back control? Monica.
So I kind of have a mantra that I recite and then I journal and I meditate and I go on lots of walks.
I got
Walks are so helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Austin?
For me, I've kind of touched on it already, but for me, it's been kind of tying it back into something else we talked about early in this conversation is reflecting on like finding evidence for myself of the positive impact I've had already, like the differences that I've made for clients. Because if that's my concern is I'm not going to be able to deliver on what I promise. I have kind of like a portfolio of people, like very specific, the names and the faces and the businesses they built of people that I've had a direct hand in helping. So I'll flip back through and I'll be like, kind of amp myself up, like, you know what, I am capable, like I can deliver because I've done it. And that's been I mean, I have it in a couple different places. We have it in our Instagram highlights, some client testimonials, so I'll flip through those, or messages on my phone. And so that's been a big help in kind of, like I said, nipping that in the bud before it gets too far.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, last question for you guys here. What is your favorite belief about yourself? Austin.
Oh, favorite belief about myself.
Mhm.
Um, I would say that I have the potential to grow. If I don't know something now, I can learn it. I feel like that holds a lot of people back and it's held me back, but something I believe about myself is that if I don't know it now, I can learn the answer. I can learn how to do it. And so just the belief that I have so much potential in me to continue expanding my mind, my abilities. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Monica?
I love the fact that it's easy for me to connect with people. And I think that's helped me in business a lot.
Love it. Well, awesome. Guys, that's all we got for you. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Oh man, thank
Thank
you. This
you.
has been a great conversation. Thank you
Yeah.
for giving us the space to share some of our thoughts with everybody.
Of course. Of course. Happy to do it. And is there anything else you guys want to chat about before we sign off?
No, I don't think so.
We're okay.
Solid, solid. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show. If you guys are listening to this and you loved what Austin and Monica had to say, make sure to check them out. Is the best way to do that Instagram, guys?
Yeah, definitely. We're at Austin and Monica as our handle.
Sounds good. And that link will be down in the show notes. Guys, thank you for watching. We will see you on the next one. And on that note, we're out.